Are you a woman standing at a crossroads, eager for change? It's time to connect with your authentic and empowered self at Boss Leap. Join Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker in this empowering community where real-life stories of courageous and talented women inspire and motivate. Engage in honest conversations that foster well-being, drawing from our own journeys. Let us guide you toward profound growth and transformation in both your personal and professional life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker.
Welcome back to Boss Leap. Today, we are super excited. We have, again, one of my favorite people, and I know you say, I say that every week, and I do, because these are my people. But before we get started with today's guest, Angela, I have a pet peeve, and it is technology. So I got a new laptop, which I'm excited about my new laptop. Yes, I'm an Apple girl. Okay. It runs quickly. It's moving fast. It moved all my stuff from my old laptop to my new laptop. That was cool, right? Mm-hmm. The adapters, all the little hole things, they've all changed.
Yes.
And I know someone's listening is like, girl, we know this. I'm like, yes, but when it happens to you and you're within an hour of taping your podcast and you realize that you cannot get your light nor your microphone connected to your new laptop and you got to go to Target, then it's a problem. But the wonderful thing, it reminds me of how to adapt and to be more flexible. So I had a patient, I'm going to keep this brief, this weekend, and she said to me, don't sweat the small stuff. And when I tell you, when she said it, it hit me like a ton of bricks. So I'm trying not to sweat the small stuff today. And I'm so happy to be here with you, Angela, and our wonderful guests. So you have any technology pet peeves?
Oh, so many. And they're too numerous to count. But on your topic in terms of adapting, I think two things came to mind. One is woosah. It's just take a breath.
Woosah. I'm going to rub my earlobes like what Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys.
Just take a breath. And the second thing is nothing is unfigureoutable. I mean, we may not be able to.
I think you need to say that again for our guests.
I heard it this year, loved the word, loved the whole idea about the word and how it fit in my life. There's nothing that I cannot figure out. Nothing is unfigureoutable. So I might not be able to figure it out, but I have access to those that can figure it out. And so I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. I'm not going to spend time worrying about what I can't figure out. And yes, in the moment, you know me, I am sweating the small things, but you just have to take a breath. Because in the grand scheme of things, we can wait 5 minutes for you to get your light plugged in.
Yes.
And so in terms of IT, yeah, I'm just not the best. And briefly, I was the class at Texas A&M where computer class, the actual, class that you were compelled
like
to take.
And all that stuff was coming through.
Yes, it became mandatory in 1991. I graduated in 1990, so I was, yay, I don't have to take it. And I've been paying for that ever since. So yeah, the IT, you all call me the IT person, which is really sad, but it's a work in progress, but nothing is unfigureoutable. We can do this thing.
We can do this. Nothing is unfigureoutable. I'm going to hold that close. And let's go ahead and introduce our guest today. We have Deanna Companion. I think of her as a wellness guru. She is a mother, a partner, a daughter, a sister, a yogi, and just a wonderful light full of sage advice. So we want to welcome our guest today, Deanna Companion. Welcome to Boss Leap.
Oh, thank you. That was such a nice, warm welcome. Thank you, Sylvia. I could say a lot of the same about you too.
Mutual Admiration
Yes,
Society.
yes,
Absolutely.
So we're going to go
yes.
ahead and get on into some things today. Deanna, you and I have some things that cross. So you grew up in Seattle or call Seattle home.
Yes. I mean, I grew up in a lot of different places. Okay. So my mom, she's a nomad. She doesn't like to
Oh, I like that.
stay in one place for very long. So I actually was born in Vegas. Don't really remember it, but I was born there. And then when I left Vegas, we moved to Colorado, Telluride, Colorado. And then, so I lived in Telluride, Colorado. Then I lived in New Jersey, New York, Vancouver, Washington, Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of different places. But Seattle, yes, I went to college in Seattle, and I was there for about 8 years. But I've lived in a lot of different places. And so for me, when people ask like, where are you from? Um, I would have to say partly Seattle and partly New York, because I feel like those two places were the places where I kind of came into myself, grew, kind of discovered like, who I am or what I want to be, or, all of that stuff. And yeah, so
So that's,
um,
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, that's so really interesting. So I love Deanna. I've known you since I guess probably before the pandemic, and I don't know all of these things about you. So I find it fascinating to learn these bits of information as we do our interviews. Can you tell us a little bit about what you think that gave you growing up, being in
yeah.
multiple places?
Yeah, I love it. I think it gave me. I'm just adaptable. I can live in any place. I can get along with really any type of person, any different personality. I love change. I think a lot of times people are scared of change because they don't
Wow.
know what the
Mhm.
unknown is.
Mhm.
But I actually really love change because it means that there's something different about to happen. There's some new adventure that's going to happen. It's not going to be stagnant. I actually flourished from my mom wanting to live in all these different places. And mind you, my mom was a single mom, so it wasn't exactly easy for her to like jump all around.
Mhm.
Um, Financially, and with two kids that she was trying to raise. But she wanted that for herself, and she would kind of be in one place and be like, okay, that's enough of that place. Now we're going to go, somewhere else. So I, even to this day, like I just bought a house, and to me, I'm like, like that, which, because that kind of means like, okay, I think I'm gonna, I guess,
Yeah.
be here for a little while.
You can always sell that house. You and
That's right.
Demetrius can be like, I'm out.
Exactly. But so I just think I love to travel. So I
Mhm.
think learning about new places. So it was really good for me. I think for my brother, I think it depends on your personality, right? So my
Mm.
brother, I don't think he didn't like it. Like, he doesn't actually like change. It makes
Mhm.
him anxious. He likes to be somewhere and like be comfortable and like know his surroundings. So I just think that like me and my mom are very, very much alike, also very different, but very much alike. So I think that for me, it has been great. And I'm like already thinking like, okay, I'm in Atlanta, but like, where's the next place?
What's
Mhm.
next?
What's next, So
And I
yeah.
always love hearing about your mom because I think just recently she was thinking about moving internationally to Portugal, and I had already planned my visit to
Yeah.
your mom and to Portugal, because it just excites me that someone who is later in life is continuing to make boss leaps, as we would say. Your
Mm-hmm.
mom, I think, is in her early 70s and
Mm-hmm.
is fit, fit, fit. Angela, I have
Mm-hmm.
seen photos of
I can
Deanna's
imagine.
mom. She is strong and looks amazing. So it certainly lights my way as we continue to age gracefully.
Yeah,
But
she's definitely an inspiration. She takes all my virtual classes,
Oh,
and she's great. She's 72 and
mm,
she can do all the things. So,
inspiring.
she sure
yes,
can.
So
yes.
on those lines, one of our questions is, who has played an important role in your life? So I've heard your mom, and I know there are other people in your life. So it could be your mother or someone else or a multitude of people, but who you feel like has played an important part in your life's journey.
Yeah, I mean, definitely my mom from the very beginning, and still to this day, she's, you have your person. I definitely think that she is my person that I go to when I have questions or um, things I'm trying to decide on in life. And she is, she saw from a young age, of me wanting to dance and act and sing and all of those things. So she definitely is very important to me. But along the way, I've had wonderful girlfriends um, that have that are very important to me. Growing up, because we moved so much, I didn't really have friends,
Mhm.
close friends, because we moved so much. So I think once I got to, I would say, college, I started really making some close girlfriends. And they have taught me so much about like relationships. And they're who I go to for like emotional support. That's how your girlfriends are. And so definitely my girlfriends. My daughter obviously is like number one in my life at this point. Demetrius, who is my partner, who is so supportive, and he's like my rock, and he's calm. So I can be like,
Mhm.
like I'm very like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go there, and he's very like, shh.
Mm.
So he's been great. Um, so I feel very blessed. My clients, some of my clients, Sylvia, are just very important to me. I learn from them all the time. Um, I have some amazing, intelligent, like clients who have done so much or doing so much. So they inspire me. Like they're always so thankful to me, but I'm
Mm.
always so thankful for them because I learn from them all the time. And I get so excited and happy when they keep getting stronger, or they've been trying to do this, exercise or
For like
something. And
5 years.
yeah, and then they do it, and I'm like, what? I just I get so inspired by them and learn from them. So I feel blessed because I feel like I have so many people in my life that are important to me, that love me and I love them back.
You do.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Definitely.
yeah,
So Deanna, when you and I first started working together, you were on kind of the journey to become a mother. One of the first few things that I remember you saying to me is like, I'd like to have a child. And I was like,
yes.
okay, you are already a mother. And then I don't know, within 2 years, I had nothing to do with it. You were pregnant. And then now certainly we have Aria, who is such a wonderful light, your daughter. But can you share with me, us or our audience, some things that motherhood has taught you, in particular, kind of coming to motherhood a little bit later in life?
Yeah, so Aria in this world is actually an amazing story, I think, because I actually didn't think that I could have kids. And, when I was in my 20s and 30s, people would ask me about kids, and I was like, maybe. I wasn't like gung ho to have kids. I didn't not want to have kids, but I definitely wanted to have a child with a partner. Because
Under the right set of
under
circumstances.
the
No,
right
I
set of
get that.
circumstances. Like
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with a single mom, and she did the best she could. She was
Mm-hmm.
amazing, but she struggled. She really
Mm-hmm.
struggled financially. She struggled. We were like latchkey kids. And her dreams that she wanted to do with her life, as far as like be a dancer and stuff, just went, kind of under the wayside. And I did not want that for myself. I also, my brother's father was not a good father. My father was not in the picture until I found him when I was an adult. It was very important to me. If I was going to have a kid, I wanted it to be with the right partner, a good man
Mm-hmm.
that my daughter or son was going to grow up with a father in their life, because I struggled a lot with not having a father in my life, as far as like my confidence, as far as like the type of man that I chose for so long. They were just not good, because I didn't understand like how a man was supposed to treat a woman until later, until my girlfriend said, Deanna, like that is not the way to be treated. So that was number one. And so previous to Demetrius, I had met a man who I thought was great and wonderful. And he said that he wanted to have kids. And then I think that he said that just to kind of get me.
Oh.
And I was with him for 6 years. And about 3 or 4 years into it, he basically started to kind of hint that he didn't want to have kids. He didn't really say it.
Oh my.
And I'm in my late 30s at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Prime
moved
fertility years.
I had moved from New York to Florida to be with this man. And anyways, so instead of having kids, he got me 2 dogs. So
Good starting point.
So right. So anyways, I kind of got the feeling then that like this might not work out. This might not be the man for me, not just because of that, but just for other reasons also. But I ended up moving to Atlanta because he opened up, he was in the fitness industry. So he opened up 2 Orange Theories here. And I figured, well, if it doesn't work out, I'd rather be single in Atlanta than Florida. And I didn't really like Florida that much anyways, except for the beach, which is like my happy place. So anyways, when I got here, I won't, tell you all the details, but I met Demetrius. And when I met him, I had like these spirit guides or angels. I don't know if you have them, but sometimes in like pivotal times in my life, they are so loud and they speak to me. And I met him at this lounge, and they talked to me and they said, "This is your person. You need to be with this person. This is who you're supposed to be with." And I kind of was arguing with them because I was like, "Are you sure?" Because I feel like the guy next to him is like more my type.
See, that would be me, right? And I would be like, oh, I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to be with the guy next to him. And then, yes. Okay. So how did you like tune into that inner spirit?
Because this is not the first time it's happened, and they've never guided me wrong.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, all right. And so I ended up listening, and I ended up being with this man, Demetrius. And, at this point, I think I was like 40, like into my 40s, 40th year. And so I had told him about like, I think I want to, I've wanted kids, but I just don't think it can happen because I'm at this age. I was with this man. It never happened. And he was like, I'm going to give you a baby. And I was like, okay, all right. No, I'm going to be the one. I was like, okay, don't get on your high horse. But anyways, it a year later, I had fibroids and they were really bothering me. And so I was like, I'm going to go get these taken care of. I'm going to go see what, so I went and had an appointment, had an ultrasound. And, when they did it, they were like, yeah, no, you're pregnant. And I was like, at this point, I was 5 weeks pregnant. So I'm going in there.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm going in there
Wow.
thinking I'm looking at fibroids. And the lady's like, no, you're pregnant. And I was like, what?
Love it.
Like, so anyways, this was, I was I got pregnant at 41. I had her at 42. And in my mind, I was like, well, she must want to be here because I didn't take any, I wasn't really trying just the old fashioned way, and the whole time I was pregnant, I kind of just like didn't really let myself believe it was going to happen because I was like, I mean, I felt her growing, I felt her kicking, I felt her dancing. But I remember I had an emergency C-section, and I had my eyes closed, and uh, they were like, Deanna, open your eyes, look at your baby girl. I heard her, and when I looked up, they pull her up over the sheet, and my first thought was like, oh my God, it's a baby. Like, I just like, like I was like, wow, this is like crazy. And I was never afraid of, being a mom because I felt like I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just going to figure it out. I was more afraid of the labor and the pain. But she wanted to be here. She is like my heart walking outside of my body every day. Like that's what it feels like. Um, and being a mom in my late 40s is amazing because I feel like one, I know who I am. I have the confidence in myself. I have my own business, and so like I'm set in where I'm at as far as my career that I can like take time to like go on field trips with her and do all the things that my mom was not able to do because she really had to like struggle. And because I have Demetrius and he's an amazing dad, it's pretty awesome to see him be a father to her because I'm always like, wow, like that's what it's like. Like, and to see her have that relationship with her dad is like exactly what I wanted for a child if I ever had one. And so it's great having them in the 40s. I mean, I will say, stay in shape, make sure that you have the energy, the physical energy, because they are a bundle of just pure energy. So I would say like if you have your kid in your 20s, you're still there. Like you got all that energy anyways. So I think that's probably easier. So if you have a child in later in life, I think you have the wisdom, and you're maybe hopefully able to have more time with them. But you really gotta stay in shape.
So your answer was packed with so many gems and pearls and beautiful words. Oh my goodness. I think because we have so many questions we want to ask you, I'm just going to leave it very brief. Of my sum up of what you said was, number one, when creating another life, it is ideal to have that perfect partner because it is difficult being on your own. And I've obviously, as an OBGYN, seen many powerful women do it by themselves, but it's always typically easier when you have a good partner beside you. Being fit. So I know, being in your 40s is more common now in your late 30s and 40s because we are delaying, childbirth so that we can fulfill meaningful, purposeful careers. But just what you said at the end was being fit. I mean, that certainly decreased your risk of hypertension, diabetes, preeclampsia, all the things that can happen to us. And unfortunately, I think that is a piece that gets missed when we look at, celebrities and all the people that are getting pregnant late in life. As number one, most of them have a lot of support, but also are being guided with some healthy lifestyle changes and modifications. So I obviously, being one of your Pilates students and yoga students, know your efforts in creating a very healthy and just a healthy life for yourself. But what a beautiful story. I know you've done so many wonderful things, and I know being a mom is number one for you. But one thing I did not know about you, which I hopefully you may be able to give me shed some light on, was the fact that you pursued some acting and in your career. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Yeah. So I've always been in dance, acting, singing. I played the violin for many, many years. My mom was a dancer. My grandmom was a piano player. My dad was a drummer, and an opera singer. And so it's kind of in my genes. And so um, I think that was my first, when you think about like, what do you want to be when you grow up? That was definitely the first thing, was to be a performer of whatever kind. And so I did pursue that. I went to Cornish College of the Arts in Seattle, and I acted professionally for about 8 years, and I love it. I mean, I love it. I still love it. Like, I kind of think like, how can I like do a little bit of that now and get back into like my artistic self? Um, I didn't like the business of it, and the business of it is very challenging. They call it a stay at it game. So there's so many talented actors, singers, dancers, and but it's a hard career to kind of break into. And so if you stay at it and you have talent, a lot of times you can make it. But for me, I loved it so much, but I didn't. When I was in New York, I had at least 3 jobs at any given time. And then that wasn't on top of like auditioning, which is also another job. And It was a huge struggle. And I think when I was like in the mid 30s, I went on a trip to Playa del Carmen, and I was standing in the ocean. The ocean and the beach is like my place where like I I'm able to like breathe and relax, but also like um, answers come to me a lot of times when I'm just kind of staring out. And again, my spirit guides, I said a little prayer while I was standing in the water, and I think I was like, what can I do? I want to do something that's going to make me money, but that I also will love doing. And Pilates was like came into my head, and I was like, oh, I can do that. I've done Pilates. I like Pilates. I like moving. And so when I got back to my apartment in New York, I went on Craigslist. Remember Craigslist? And I went into like the health and wellness, and there was a it was like an ad like, get fully certified in Pilates and work study available. And I was like, wow, I don't even have to pay for this. Exactly. So anyways, I still acted. I acted up until probably I would say like 5 years ago. I tried to do both. I tried to do Pilates and fitness and do the acting. But again, like auditioning and everything is a full-time gig. That's why so many people who are actors are they wait tables or they bartend, because what happens is your agent will call you and they'll say, you have an audition tomorrow at 10 a.m. this is, the part, this is, the lines, this is where you have to be there. And so you can't have a career, like you can't have like an actual career that I couldn't just tell my clients like, hey, sorry, I can't see you tomorrow. So eventually I just had to kind of let that go. But I love what I do. This is like my second love. So I feel so blessed that I actually found something else that I love to do in life also. So yeah.
Beautiful.
That tells us a lot. And so I didn't realize that it was something that sort of came to you. I'm going to say that the ancestors or the spirits kind of spoke to you and directed you in the direction of Pilates. It's wonderful that you are so in tune with the spirit within and being able to listen and to move forward on those words. But kind of when we think about Pilates, and I know you had a hip replacement recently, can you share with our listeners what you'd like for people to kind of know about Pilates and even yoga, and especially as we age gracefully?
Yes. So I've got into Pilates first, and Pilates is um, it was created by Joseph Pilates, and it was
Oh, it's a man. It's a human being.
yes,
I didn't know
yes.
that. Okay.
Exactly. His name is Joseph Pilates, and he created these series of exercises. He also invented all of the apparatus, all of the machines that Pilates is in World War One to help rehabilitate veterans who were in the war. That's how it started. And then he moved to New York and he helped dancers and also other people who needed this rehabilitation system for themselves. That's how it started. And so I got into Pilates because I got in a car accident in college. And when I was doing physical therapy, they said, you should do Pilates. So that's how it started. And then along the way, I love movement and I love being strong and I love teaching. And so I think then I got certified in Thai yoga massage because I loved stretching people. And then I got certified in TRX and then red cord and then strength training and just very recently yoga. My thing about movement is just find something that you enjoy doing. If you hate running, don't run. If you don't find there has to be something that you enjoy doing and start there. And then try to maybe add other stuff in. As we get older, especially women, I won't say especially, well, I will say especially women because we are women. You lose about 10% muscle mass when you hit 30 every 10 years. So you actually have to do more strength training as you get older. And obviously more mobility training. And we only have this one body. This is it. This is what we got. So take care of it. I have a client that I've been working with, and he's been talking about his grandchildren and that he can't pick his youngest grandbaby up. So don't necessarily always think about like fitness as like a way to like your goal of like I want to do 10 push-ups, whatever. Think about more like what is it for your life? Like what in your life do you love to do that you want to continue doing, that you want to have the physical capacity to be able to continue to do? I mean, that's what it's all
Walking
about,
through
right?
the airport and looking beautiful and not being in
Right.
a cart.
Yeah. I mean, like
Awesome.
what the dream is, in my opinion, the dream is for us to live our entire lives and be mobile till the very end,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Obviously, we'll probably have to stop doing maybe some things, maybe, I don't know. When people tell me they're too old to do something, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, you know, that saying of you don't use it, you
You
lose
lose it.
it.
Mhm.
Just keep, you know, my thing is like, just keep moving, just keep doing it.
And Deanna,
So
you have fantastic clients, and I'm not merely talking about myself and Angela, but you have one client in particular who I usually follow uh, in my
yes.
private sessions with you. I'm just going to call her name is Carol. And I
Mm-hmm.
think she's 80 and she looks phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
She's strong. You just see sort of the light and the energy. And whenever I see her, I am inspired to
Mm-hmm.
know that as I age gracefully and I continue to adapt my body, that I can look like Carol. So that's sort of one of my goals. Uh, and
Yes.
and in the interest of time, because I know you have a session coming up, and we are most certainly going to have you back. But please tell us how you practice self-care. You give us all of this energy.
Mhm.
You listen to people all day. You're training people. How do you take care of yourself?
That's a great question. I'm still working on um, giving myself more self-care. I definitely I have a problem saying no.
Mm,
I I love giving to people and I love helping people and you know I have a daughter who's and a family, so it's hard for me sometimes to get that time, but I'm getting better at it. I will say doing my yoga training really helped me because it taught me to meditate
mhm,
and so every morning I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. And people are like, what? But I get up at 5 o'clock because it's really the only time when everybody's still sleeping, when it's quiet, and I can go into my little studio that I have and onto my meditation pillow. And I always read um, something from one of my yoga books, and then I meditate for at least 20 minutes. And I was never able to do that before I did my yoga training. 5 minutes was like way long for me. But it's about like quieting my mind. Yoga is about that mind body connection. So it's about quieting my mind and getting ready for the day. And so I think that that's something that I do every day that I've added that's helped so much. Um, I I have set, I have a trainer. So I have it set every Thursday that I see him. And I do that because if I'm beholden to somebody, like he's
mhm,
expecting me, I'm paying him. And so I will not schedule somebody in that hour because I'm committed to somebody else, right? Which really is I'm committing to myself.
Mhm.
But it's so that's helped. Time blocking has helped. Where I look at my calendar every week and I say, okay, here's what I'm going to do next week, and I'm going to block that out, and I'm not going to say yes to anybody. And I've done that.
but you're saying yes to yourself.
I'm saying yes to myself. Exactly, exactly. But it's taken me. I mean, you know, when you have your own business, I think you kind of throw yourself into that, and I did. And also, if you're like a person who is a giver and you are really, you know, you have a really busy life, it's hard to find time for yourself. Um, but you have to because if you don't have any, you know, if your glass is empty, then
Mhm,
you have nothing to give to anybody else.
Mhm.
And so, so I'm really, I'm a work in progress, but I'm really trying to find more of those times for myself and
Well,
self care. Oh, and travel and beach. I know Angela, like the beach is like your thing
it
too, and
it
like
is absolutely.
I try to go to
Absolutely.
the beach at least once a year and just be at that ocean. So,
Yeah. You're so inspiring to me. You always have been just such a calm spirit, but the true embodiment of a healthy woman. I think you're intentional about, everything that you do, your ability in the I call it a gym. So I don't, in your studio with just guiding someone that's a novice and introducing someone and making them fall in love with Pilates, and then doing, virtual yoga. You just do all the things, and knowing how passionate you are about your family. I just want to know, lastly, how can other women support women? So specifically, I feel like some people that pour into others so much don't ask for the support that they need, and would love to know what you think, how other women can support women that are doing great things.
um, I mean, I think listen, and show up and to whatever your friends or women that are in your community are doing. Um, I be happy for other women when they have a win. I think sometimes we get competitive with one another in careers and stuff because I think sometimes there's not as many opportunities out there sometimes. And so just be happy for their win. Um, Listen to other women and educate. Um, yeah, I yeah, I
I
guess.
love that. Listening is important. You always listen to all of your clients, and certainly you have provided me with great sage advice over the years. And I have seen the transformation of my body, and that physical confidence has made me more confident as a woman and a human being. So for that, I thank you. And Deanna, we're going to get you out of here, and you
Okay.
must promise to come back.
Oh,
We thank you, Deanna
yes,
Companion.
thank you. This has been great.
Thank you for sharing your journey with our listeners here at Boss Sleep. Where can our listeners find you on social media?
Oh, so at Companion Wellness is on Instagram is my name. That's where you'll find, different videos and stuff of me showing different tips. And then at Deanna Companion is just my personal one on Instagram. Um, and yeah, that's
Wonderful.
I need to get on social media more, but that's where I'm at.
It will continue to evolve. And we want to
Exactly.
encourage all of our listeners at Boss Sleep to follow Deanna Companion at Companion Wellness, as well as to please check out our website, bosssleeppodcast.com. Leave your comments on the show and what you'd like to see next. So we will see you next time on Boss Sleep.
Thank you.
And until then, may you be well.
May you be well. So, what are some take home messages? We had so many nuggets from Deanna. Angela, what resonated most with you?
Well, number one, what resonates with me is the fact that we didn't have enough time with Deanna.
Oh my
She
goodness,
has
girl.
so much to share with women that are listening to this podcast.
Mhm.
Things I think from a health and wellness perspective is the importance of strength and mobility. And that sounds so pragmatic, but it is so true. Things that I think we think about exercise in terms of how we're going to look. like
Yes.
externally.
And we want to look good.
We
but
do.
It's about healthy
That-
vessels. Yes.
That's true. But in terms of living a long and healthy life, being strong, like in our inner core, and continuing to stay mobile is so important. And she certainly embodies all of that in what she teaches. The other thing, she didn't necessarily say it, but we've heard it before. No is a sentence, learning to say no. And it's so hard for those of us who consider ourselves givers. And just, I think, for women who have so much on their plate, of being able to say no and not being selfish about it when there are things that you need to do. And I think I found it interesting, her take on adaptability. And, again, it could be a whole nother conversation. We talk about how important it is to give children a, strong and, I guess a stable background. And oftentimes we see that as being in, one home, living your entire life. But everybody grows up differently, and there are things that you can adapt from when you have challenges like moving and making new friends. And certainly she has shown us, what that can look like, and growing up to be such a beautiful and multifaceted person. So how about you, Sylvia?
Yeah. And, I think that when we think that only having one home and going to one school and having kind of one set of friends throughout kind of elementary and high school, for some people, that being in one place is not the best thing for them. It's not how they are wired. So I loved how it really embraces change. As someone who likes change, but doesn't like to go through change, I'm certainly inspired by that. And certainly when she talked about finding, if in terms of movement, and I've used the word movement, I picked that up actually from you, Angela, as opposed to exercise, find something you enjoy doing. I am not a runner, but I really enjoy Pilates and have seen the evolution in my body and my strength by doing Pilates. There are machines kind of within the studio that initially I was not excited about being on. But Deanna would say, okay, well, let's try this. And she has a wonderful way of being quite firm, but very pleasant. And I would kind of side eye her and think, "Ugh, I don't want to do this." And she would say, let's just try it. Let's start with 5. So that's always great, finding something you enjoy, but then also taking care of your body and having one vessel and one body. And how do we then age gracefully? How are we adaptable as we move forward in life? Those were my take homes, and thinking about her mom as a nomad. I love the beauty of the word nomad.
Love it too. Same. And I can't think of a better way to end this segment in terms of just, being adaptable and embracing change. And would love to have Deanna back again. And so happy that we were able to get her with her busy schedule. So thank you, Sylvia. Appreciate you as always. Love you, girl. And to our audience, until next time, may you be well.
Love you too, Angela, and may you be well.
That's a wrap on another episode of Boss Leap. May this conversation enlighten your path toward personal growth and professional empowerment. For more thought-provoking and eye-opening discussions like this one, head to our website at bossleappodcast.com. Always remember to celebrate your wins and trust yourself. A positive mindset can push you out of your comfort zone and into far greater heights. Until next time, may you be well.
Before we go, there's one more thing the lawyers have asked us to include. You know, it's the legal language, and you know how doctors love lawyers. This podcast is presented only for educational and entertainment purposes. Although we are doctors, on this show, we are just your friends. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Understood? Awesome. We'll see you in the next episode.